Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Marlow York and I am a self-published author. Today I want to talk about a subject that is probably near and dear to a lot of writers' hearts, and that is things writers are sick of hearing, or things writers hate to hear. And when it comes to this list, sometimes the commenters mean well, other times they don't realize how difficult it is to be a writer and they just want to crush your soul. Not long ago I also polled my fellow writers on Instagram, and I quickly realized that others are hearing the exact same things that I am hearing, so I didn't quite feel so alone. Based on their responses and things that I've heard myself, I decided to compile a list of things writers hate to hear. Here we go. Number 1. What is your real job? For some of us, writing is our full-time job, and if you were ever to do it yourself, you would realize that it is very, very real. And there are also other writers like myself who have to juggle a full-time job while they write on the side. Whether you're a full-time writer or a part-time writer, it doesn't make it any less real or any less difficult. And just because someone does write full-time doesn't necessarily mean that they're broke and starving. It just means that you probably don't realize that that's what they do. Number 2, this is just a phase, or you'll lose interest in this hobby. So what if it is a hobby? That doesn't mean that it's any less difficult or that it requires anyone to be rude about it. For many writers, writing did begin as a hobby that we eventually pursued for a full-time or part-time career. Some people will lose interest, others will keep doing it their entire lives. That's no reason to look down on them or to say that they will lose interest. Even if someone in your life is writing as just a hobby, they still appreciate your support for as long as they decide to keep writing. Number 3, am I a character in your story? Is so-and-so a character in your story? Are you a character in your story? Can I be a character in your story? No. The answer is generally no. I've honestly never met a writer who put themselves into a story, of course with the exception of autobiographies. I've also never known a writer to create a character that was a spitting image of themselves or someone they knew, and in fact, that'd be kind of weird if you ask me. Sure, we might pull inspiration from people that we know or our own experiences and personalities, but that doesn't mean we are the character or that anyone else is the character. I actually had a friend who seemed really genuinely surprised that I could just create a fictional character out of nothing and make them do fictional things that weren't actually related to real life. Why is that weird? This is literally what writing fiction is. And on the flip side, if you were to write about someone that you knew in real life, odds are you're not doing it to kill them off, as we often talk about. By creating a character based on someone you know, you're obviously saying, I like you enough that I want to make you live on forever, essentially.
There's a bunch of people making snowmen. Oh, are you recording?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can edit all this out. So. I'm not used to recording while there's anyone here. This is kind of weird. Anyway. Number 4. You're never going to make any money by writing. You should just quit. Really? Because I'm making money off of my writing right now. This is easily a statement that could be applied to literally anyone in the arts or anyone who has made their own small business. We like to tell artists and writers that they're never going to make any money off of their crafts, and yet we buy things that are made by artists literally all the time. Also, just because a writer isn't a millionaire off of their writing doesn't mean they can't use it to supplement their income or to just make a little bit of extra on the side. Nor do all writers aim to be rich. Some of them just write because they actually enjoy writing. And to follow up with number 4 is number 5. How much money have you made off of your writing? None of your fucking business. That's how much money. This kind of goes along with number 4, where people just assume that you're not going to make any money at all, so they feel like it's appropriate to ask you exactly how much money you have made. And haven't we already established, especially in American culture anyway, that it's inappropriate to ask anyone how much money they make doing anything? Whether they're working bagging groceries at the local grocery store, or if they're the CEO of a Fortune 500,000 whatever company, you don't need to know how much money anyone else makes. Who is texting me? Oh god, they're gonna text me a freaking story. Number 6. You wrote a horror story? You must be a murderer. Just because writers include shocking or perhaps strange content in their writing doesn't mean that it's based off of real life or anything that they actually want to do. In my book, Blood of Fire, the protagonist's government destroys her entire village and kills her parents and does all kinds of other crazy stuff. Do you actually think I want that to happen? No. Really? Who the fuck throws a snowball while someone's recording? Meow! And this week's episode of My Fiancé is a dick. God damn it. Not every plot is fueled by real events. Sometimes it's just made up fiction. Number 7. I bet you want to be the next J.K. Rowling, or Stephen King, or Sylvia Plath, or insert name of famous author here. No, I want to be the first Marlow York. Boom! Done. Plenty of writers look up to famous authors, but that doesn't mean that we want to be them or to write a book that's exactly like something they've written. It's definitely part of my dream to be as successful as the writers that I look up to, but I want to do it telling unique stories in my own way, with my own name. Number 8. If you're a writer, why don't you always speak with correct grammar? Well, because I'm a human being and English is difficult. The way that a person speaks reflects their culture, the way they grew up, their age, whatever. Just because we try to write as grammatically correct as possible doesn't mean that we always write exactly the way that we talk. In fact, my books almost never reflect the way that I actually talk, and there's nothing wrong with that. Number 9. How do you spell blank? What does blank mean? You don't know, but you're a writer. I actually get this one a lot, and part of that is because I have a bachelor's in English and creative writing. But the fact of the matter is, writers are not walking dictionaries. Our vocabularies might be a little bit larger than others because we spend so much time writing and having to come up with other ways to say the same thing so we're not constantly relying on crutch words, but that doesn't mean we know every single word or how to spell every single word. I mean, just look things up for yourself because actually, we do that a lot ourselves. Number 10, what is your book about? It's not that we don't have an answer or that we don't want to talk about this, but it can actually be really difficult to concisely summarize your book in a way that makes people want to actually read it. If a writer's manuscript is in the beginning parts of the story, they might not really know how to accurately describe what the entire plot is about. Nailing your elevator pitch, as it's sometimes called, can be really difficult for writers, even ones who have been in the business for years. So yes, definitely ask us what our book is about if you're genuinely interested in picking it up later, but don't be surprised if we get a little uncomfortable or stammer a little bit and don't really know what to say because we probably haven't formulated that particular part of the book, i.e. the back cover blurb. And might I just add, if we do start to confuse you a little bit and we don't have a concise, eloquent way to describe what our book is about, please don't get bored and just turn around and walk away, because speaking from experience, I can say that fucking hurts. Number 11, can you send me your book for free? No. Unless you want to do some sort of collaboration or trade, don't even bother asking. Like I said before, published authors do try to make money off their book. For them, it's a business, and to ask for a free book for no reason except maybe because you know us is pretty damn insulting. There are definitely situations where writers will choose to give their books away, but you shouldn't just expect one just because you happen to be buddies with the author. So if you're a friend or family member and you somehow feel entitled to a free book, remember that for us, this is a business. Just try walking into literally any store, picking something off the shelf, and telling the cashier, "Can I just have this for free?" See how fucking far that gets you. Number 12, when a writer asks for feedback and you just say, "I like it." Sending our manuscript out for feedback is a pretty nausea-inducing situation. If we decide to trust you with our story for an actual critique or real feedback, we're hoping that you'll say more than just, "I like it." Specifically, what did you like? What did you not like? What would you like to see more of? Just saying you like it, even if you're just doing it because you genuinely like it and you don't want to hurt their feelings, doesn't help us become better writers. It's fine to gently tell someone, "I didn't like this. This character was boring," because that helps us figure out what we can fix so that we can make it something that we will actually want to publish and hopefully other people will enjoy. Consider this an opportunity to help us make our story even better. To be chosen to give feedback is an honor and a privilege. It means that we trust you to be truthful and thorough. Make us proud to have chosen you. Number 13, you write children's or young adult books? That must be pretty easy. Just because the subject matter isn't adult doesn't make the process any less difficult. I can't speak for children's books because I haven't written any myself, but as a young adult author, I can honestly say the age of the target audience doesn't make the writing or publishing process any less difficult. Number 14, writing isn't hard, you just sit at a computer all day. I've had stand all day jobs and I've had sit all day desk jobs, and I can honestly say they are both equally exhausting for your mind and your body. Sure, a different part of your body is probably going to hurt depending on what it is your job does, but just because I sit looking at a screen all day doesn't mean my back doesn't hurt. Regardless of which position you work in, by the way, standing desks are awesome, writing is still hard work. On the physical side of things, sitting all day is terrible for your back and your legs and numerous other things, but from a mental point of view, staring at a screen is mentally draining, and the stress of writing and publishing and trying to impress people and market and do all these other things all at once can make your brain fucking explode. Also, most of the work is solitary. As someone who works from home for her day job and works at home while she's writing, I don't really have a lot of human contact. Fortunately, I'm an introvert and this is pretty easy for me to handle, but I don't have work buddies that I can just stand around the water cooler with and chat or go for beers with after work, because it's just me and sometimes the dog, and he doesn't always get really chatty. Another difficult part of writing, in the sense that we are by ourselves, is that we have no sounding board. We don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of, or anyone telling us how to do things correctly. If you're a self-published author like myself, you have to learn a lot of things through trial and error, through research, and through other writing people, which in my case I found entirely online. So no, writing is not easy just because we're sitting down at a computer or scribbling in a notebook. Number 15, when are you going to be done? Cue cold sweat, headache, shaking knees. Even when we set deadlines, things still happen, and we might not always make the exact deadlines that we set for ourselves. The entire process from brainstorming the first ideas to actually publishing the book can take years. In some cases, we won't know when we're done until the manuscript is just about polished as it can be and we're ready to send it to the publisher. So yes, if you want to know when the book is going to be done so that you can buy it when it's released, definitely ask the question, but don't be surprised if you get an I don't know or just sort of a ballpark date range, as in spring 2020. However, if you do ask this question, we are definitely glad that you asked, because it shows that you're interested in our book. So definitely come back around another time and ask again, and hopefully we'll have a much better idea, maybe. We'll let you know, we'll call you. So there you have it. That's my list of things that writers hate to hear or are sick of hearing. If you enjoyed this list, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Are there any things that I missed that other fellow writers out there also hate hearing? Leave them below in the comments and we can compare notes and maybe vent or, whatever. So my camera's battery died before I could finish my outro. If you want to follow me, I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All the links will be below in the description. So until next time, see you later.